You think your life is tough. Wait till you realize the real battlefield isn't out there, it's in your head. The strongest people aren't the ones who lift the most weight. They're the ones who lift themselves every time their mind tries to drag them down. Your mind can either be your weapon or your weakness. If you don't train it, it will train you to quit. This is the truth most people ignore. Every weak thought, every moment of doubt builds a weaker life, but every moment of strength builds a future no fear can break. Your mind is like a muscle. It grows stronger or weaker depending on what you feed it every single day. Every thought, every belief, every mental pattern you allow inside your head is shaping the life you live right now. If you constantly feed your mind with negativity, doubt, or fear, it becomes a breeding ground for weakness. You start to believe that you can't, that you're not enough, that success is for others but not for you. And soon, those thoughts turn into actions, or worse, inaction. You stop trying, you stop believing, and eventually you stop growing. But the truth is, your mind will follow whatever diet you give it. If you feed it strength, it becomes strong. If you feed it weakness, it will break. The difference between the person who gives up and the one who keeps going isn't luck, talent, or destiny. It's the kind of thoughts they allow to take root inside. Every word you tell yourself becomes a seed planted in your subconscious. Over time, those seeds grow, either into weeds that choke your confidence or into trees that carry the weight of your dreams. The choice is always yours. You can't expect a strong life if you're in a world that is filled with weak thoughts. The mind listens to what you tell it. If you say, I can't, it shuts down. If you say, I will, it looks for ways to make it happen. The language you use with yourself is the foundation of your strength. You have to become your own coach, not your own critic. Stop repeating the voice of fear that says you're not capable. That voice has lied to you for too long. Replace it with truth, with conviction, with the inner fire that says, I've got this. What you consume mentally every day matters more than what you eat or where you live. The books you read, the videos you watch, the people you listen to, all of them are feeding your thoughts, and your thoughts are feeding your reality. If you spend your time soaking in negativity, drama, or laziness, don't be surprised when your life starts to reflect it. Your external world is nothing but a mirror of your internal dialogue. Change what you feed your mind, and your world begins to transform. Training your mind means being intentional about every thought that enters it. You have to treat your mental space like a sacred place. Not everyone and everything deserves access. Whenever a negative thought shows up, question it, challenge it. Don't let it sit there and grow roots. Replace it with something stronger, something that empowers you. Tell yourself, I am capable, I am learning, I am getting better. You might not believe it at first, but the repetition will build faith. Eventually, your mind will stop fighting you and start working with you. Every day you have a choice to feed your weakness or your strength, and that choice determines everything: how you act, how you feel, and how you face life. The ones who rise above fear are not born fearless. They simply train their minds to think stronger thoughts. They teach themselves to see opportunity in difficulty and to see lessons in failure. You can do the same. It begins with one powerful decision: to stop feeding your mind with the junk of self-doubt and start feeding it with belief, purpose, and determination. Because when your mind is trained to see strength, your life begins to reflect it. You walk differently, you speak differently, and you face challenges with a calm, steady fire. The world might try to break you, but your thoughts will build you back up. That's the power of mental discipline. The mind that's trained to stay strong cannot be broken, no matter what comes its way. Pain is the price of power, and there's no shortcut around it. Every person who has ever achieved greatness has walked through moments that nearly broke them. Pain isn't just a part of life. It's the furnace that shapes you. When everything feels heavy, when the road gets dark, when it feels like you're running on empty, that's where strength is born. Weak minds run from pain because they mistake it for punishment. Strong minds embrace it, knowing it's the path to becoming unshakable. Every challenge, every setback, every heartbreak carries a lesson if you're willing to face it. Pain strips away comfort, and comfort is the enemy of growth. When you stay comfortable, you never push past your limits. You never test how far you can go. But pain pushes you beyond what you thought possible. It teaches you endurance, patience, and humility. It's the silent teacher that says, you can either break here or build here. Most people break, but the strong choose to build. When you face pain, your mind has two voices. One screams for escape, telling you to quit, to stop, to walk away. The other whispers for endurance, telling you to keep going just one more step. That whisper is where transformation happens. It's quiet but powerful. If you listen to it long enough, it becomes louder than the noise of fear. That's how strong minds are built, not by avoiding pain, but by walking straight through it until they learn its lessons. Think of every painful experience as a test of your capacity. The universe isn't punishing you, it's preparing you. It's seeing how badly you want what you say you want. You can't demand strength and reject struggle. You can't expect courage without first facing fear. Every scar tells a story of someone who didn't run, someone who stood their ground when everything in them wanted to give up. Those are the scars of strength, and they're worth more than gold. Pain also reveals truth. It shows you who you really are when the mask of comfort is gone. When things are easy, anyone can pretend to be strong, but when life hits hard, only the trained mind stands tall. Pain exposes your weaknesses so you can fix them, your fears so you can face them, your limits so you can break them. It's not your enemy, it's your mirror. You just have to stop seeing it as something to avoid and start seeing it as something to learn from. Most people waste pain by complaining, by comparing, by trying to numb it. But if you lean into it, you find wisdom. You find that every failure carried a lesson you needed. Every rejection built a resilience you couldn't learn any other way. Every hardship toughened your spirit for the next challenge. That's the gift hidden inside the hurt. The stronger your mind becomes, the less pain can control you, and the more it starts working for you. So don't run from the struggle. When it hurts, remind yourself, this is how warriors are made. This is where strength takes shape. Every moment you push through the discomfort, you're sharpening your mind, hardening your resolve, and proving to yourself that you're not as fragile as you once believed. Pain is the bridge between the person you are and the person you're meant to be. Cross it with courage, and you'll never fear it again. Control what you can and release what you can't. That's one of the hardest lessons a strong mind must learn. Weak minds crumble under the weight of things beyond their control, replaying them endlessly, drowning in what ifs and why me. But strong minds know that energy's precious, and wasting it on what can't be changed is the fastest way to break your spirit. Life will throw storms your way, people will disappoint you, plans will fail, and things will go wrong. You can't stop that, but you can control how you respond, how you think, and how you rise. And that's where true power lives. When you obsess over things you can't control, you hand your peace over to chaos. You start living in reaction instead of intention. A strong mind understands that control isn't about forcing everything to go right. It's about mastering your inner world when everything outside goes wrong. You can't control the wind, but you can adjust your sails. You can't control the rain, but you can prepare for the storm. Strength isn't found in controlling outcomes. It's found in controlling yourself. Your thoughts are the only thing fully under your command. Every time you choose to think with purpose instead of panic, you're building resilience. Every time you calm your mind when chaos rises, you're training discipline. And every time you refuse to give power to things outside your reach, you're freeing your mind from unnecessary suffering. The truth is, most of what we fear never actually happens. It's imagined pain created by an untrained mind. A strong mindset knows how to stop feeding those fears and focus on what's real, what's actionable, what's within reach. The difference between peace and chaos often comes down to focus. Weak minds chase every problem, every rumor, every negative thought until they're exhausted. Strong minds prioritize. They focus on what they can fix and release what they can't. They take responsibility for their choices, not for everything around them. That's what separates mental strength from mental struggle. The discipline to stay centered when life pulls you in 100 directions. You can't always choose your circumstances, but you can always choose your attitude. That single decision defines whether you rise or collapse. When you face rejection, you can choose bitterness or growth. When things don't go your way, you can choose to complain or adapt. Every moment gives you a choice, reaction or response. The weak react emotionally and lose control. The strong respond with clarity and purpose. That's the difference between falling apart and building strength. Sometimes letting go is the strongest thing you can do. It's not about giving up. It's about understanding that not every battle is worth your energy. The more you try to control everything, the more trapped you become. Freedom comes when you realize you can still move forward even when the world doesn't bend your way. Strong minds don't waste time trying to fix what's unfixable. They build something new instead. And here's the truth. The world won't always be fair, and life won't always be kind. But peace isn't the absence of chaos. It's the presence of control. When you master your thoughts, you stop being a victim of circumstance and start becoming a leader of your life. Focus on what's in your hands, your effort, your attitude, your actions. That's where your strength is. Everything else, let it go. Because when your mind learns to release what it can't control, nothing outside can ever control you again. So the words you speak to yourself are the most powerful force in your life. Long before the world ever doubts you, your own voice can either destroy or define you. Every single day, you're talking to yourself, silently, constantly, whether you realize it or not. And that inner conversation shapes how you think, how you act, and how you live. A weak mind uses that voice to criticize, to blame, to give excuses. A strong mind trains that voice to encourage, to push, and to strengthen. What you whisper to yourself in private determines what you'll shout to the world in confidence. When your self-talk is negative, it poisons everything you do. You start believing you're not capable, not worthy, not enough, and belief is the foundation of action. When it's weak, your actions are weak. You start playing small, avoiding challenges and settling for less. But when your self-talk becomes powerful, everything shifts. The same situation that once broke you now becomes a lesson. The same obstacle that used to scare you now becomes a chance to prove yourself. Your inner dialogue either builds your resilience or breaks your spirit. Think about it. Every champion, every leader, every survivor had moments of fear and doubt. But what separated them from the rest wasn't the absence of fear. It was the words they told themselves in those moments. When things got dark, they didn't say, "I can't." They said, "I will." They didn't tell themselves it was over. They told themselves to stand up one more time. That's the power of language. It rewires your mindset and fuels your determination. The more you affirm strength, the more your mind starts to believe it and the stronger you become. Training your self-talk starts with awareness. You can't change what you don't recognize. Listen to your thoughts. Notice how often you speak in defeat. "I'll never make it. I'm not good enough. It's too hard." Then ask yourself, would you ever say those things to someone you love? If not, why do you say them to yourself? You deserve the same kindness and belief you give to others. Replace every weak statement with one of power. Say, "I'm learning, I'm improving, I'm stronger than this." These aren't just words. They're commands to your subconscious mind. Over time, your brain adapts to follow the language you feed it. Words create emotion, and emotion drives action. That's why changing your self-talk changes your energy. A strong mind uses positive reinforcement like fuel. It knows that the journey isn't easy, but it refuses to use language that weakens it. Instead of saying, "I can't do this," say, "This is tough, but I can handle it." Instead of saying, "I failed," say, "I learned something valuable." Your words are blueprints that design the structure of your confidence. Speak with power and your actions will follow that design. Even in silence, your self-talk is shaping your path. When you wake up, when you face setbacks, when you stand at the edge of something uncertain, your inner voice decides how you step forward. It can whisper doubt or roar determination. The choice is always yours. Train it to become your ally, not your enemy. Every time you face a challenge, remind yourself, "I've made it through worse. I'm capable of more. I'm built for this." Because the truth is, no one can motivate you more deeply than your own voice. The world can cheer for you, but if your inner voice is against you, you'll still lose. Likewise, the world can doubt you, but if your inner voice believes, you'll still win. The battle is always within, and your words are your weapons. Choose them wisely, because the way you talk to yourself today determines the strength you walk with tomorrow. Speak life, speak courage, and your mind will follow the sound of your strength. Routine is the training ground of a strong mind. It's not built in grand moments of motivation or rare bursts of energy. It's built quietly in the small, disciplined acts you repeat every single day. Your routine is your foundation. Every morning you wake up early, every time you choose action over excuses, every moment you stay consistent even when no one is watching. You are training your mind to obey strength, not weakness. People often underestimate how much power lies in simple daily habits. But the truth is, the mind grows through repetition, not inspiration. Discipline is what separates those who dream from those who do. The mind, just like the body, learns through resistance. When you stick to a routine, even when you don't feel like it, you're building mental endurance. You're teaching yourself that your feelings don't control your actions, your choices do. And that's one of the greatest forms of power a person can have. Every time you complete your routine, whether it's a workout, journaling, meditation, or just showing up to do your work, you're sending your mind a message. I keep my word. Over time, that message becomes your identity. You stop relying on motivation because discipline becomes who you are. Weak mind craves comfort. It wants to rest when it's time to rise. It wants results without effort. But a strong mind thrives in structure. It understands that every repetition of discipline builds a layer of confidence. When you wake up early, when you push your body and sharpen your focus, you're proving to yourself that you're in control. That proof compounds over time. Suddenly, challenges that used to intimidate you feel like opportunities. Discomfort becomes familiar, and failure becomes feedback. You stop fearing effort because effort becomes your natural state. Routine isn't about perfection, it's about consistency. You won't always get it right, and that's okay. The key is to keep showing up. The more consistent you are, the less space you leave for weakness to grow. A structured routine keeps your mind focused and your emotions steady. When life throws chaos at you, your habits become your anchor. You don't need to think about what to do. You already know. That's the beauty of routine. It eliminates confusion and strengthens control. Think of your daily habits as mental armor. When your day begins with discipline, your mind becomes sharper, your mood steadier, and your confidence stronger. You don't drift, you direct. The world is full of distractions and easy outs, but routine builds resistance against them. It reminds you every day who you're becoming and why you started. You're not training your body, you're training your willpower, your patience, and your purpose. Every task, no matter how small, becomes a repetition in your mental gym. The truth is, greatness is hidden in the boring moments. Waking up early when you could sleep in, finishing your work when you'd rather scroll your phone, choosing growth over comfort. Those small wins add up. They harden your mind and strengthen your discipline. When others give up because things feel tough, your mind stays locked in because you've trained it for this. That's the power of routine. It prepares you to endure when the excitement fades. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your habits. And if your habits are built with intention, strength, and focus, your life will follow that structure. So create a routine that aligns with the person you want to become. Protect it, respect it, follow it. Every day you stay disciplined. You're not just completing tasks, you're shaping your character. Over time, your routine becomes your silent engine, powering you forward when others stall. That's where mental strength is born, not in big moments, but in the quiet, repeated choices that define who you truly are. The people you surround yourself with, the environments you choose, and the habits you maintain, they either build your mind or break it. A strong mindset cannot survive in a weak environment. You can't expect to think like a warrior if you live among quitters. You can't expect to rise if you're surrounded by people who constantly pull you down. Your surroundings shape your standards, and your standards shape your strength. That's why training your mind also means guarding your circle, your space, and your energy with absolute discipline. Every person you interact with leaves an imprint on your thoughts. Some people fuel your focus while others drain it. Strong minds understand that energy is contagious. You absorb the mindset of those closest to you. If you're around people who complain, who make excuses, who fear failure, soon you'll start to sound like them. But if you walk with people who think big, who push boundaries, who chase purpose, you'll start to rise to their level. The company you keep is a mirror of what you believe you deserve. So choose wisely. You don't need a crowd, you need a core. A small group of people who challenge you, who push you to grow, who remind you of your strength when you forget it. They don't feed your comfort, they feed your courage. Surrounding yourself with strong minds doesn't mean seeking perfection. It means being around people who value progress, discipline, and resilience. Those are the kind of people who sharpen you. Iron sharpens iron. Your circle determines how sharp your edge becomes. Your environment extends beyond people. It includes the places you spend your time, the content you consume, and the energy you allow in your space. If your environment is filled with noise, chaos, and distractions, your mind will mirror that confusion. But if your space is organized, calm, and focused, your mind begins to follow the same rhythm. Clean your space, simplify your surroundings, and you'll find clarity returning to your thoughts. A strong mind thrives in an environment built for focus, not chaos. Habits are also a part of your environment. They're the invisible forces that steer your life. If your habits support growth, your mind stays strong. But if your habits are built around comfort, distraction, or negativity, your mindset slowly erodes. Think about the habits that surround your day. The first thing you do in the morning, how you spend your evenings, who you give your attention to. Each habit either feeds your strength or your weakness. The mind you're building is being shaped by what you repeatedly allow. Protecting your energy doesn't mean isolating yourself. It means being intentional about who and what earns your attention. Time and focus are your greatest currencies, and weak minds spend them carelessly. Strong minds invest them wisely. If someone constantly brings negativity, chaos, or drama into your space, learn to step back. Protecting your peace is not selfish, it's strategic. It gives your mind the space it needs to think clearly, to heal, and to grow. And here's the truth. The right people will remind you of your strength, even when you forget it. They'll challenge your excuses, celebrate your progress, and push you to see what you're capable of. That's the kind of environment where growth happens naturally. When you're surrounded by strength, you start to think, act, and live stronger. You begin to rise because the energy around you won't allow you to sink. At the end of the day, your mind is the sum of your surroundings. You become what you absorb. If you want a strong, disciplined, focused mind, build a life that supports it. People who inspire you, places that ground you, and habits that remind you of your purpose. A weak mind follows its environment, but a strong one creates it. So design your surroundings like your life depends on it, because your peace, power, and future truly do.